comment on impactors versus the solar micronova this morning. Let's get a little update and refresher. In this video, we'll go over the planetary changes in the solar system shift, including the new updates on Earth and Mars. We'll get a basic overview of what it takes to nail down what's inflicting the disaster cycle, and we'll go over that cycle as well, and where we are inside of it. We learned this week that Mars clouds are displaying doubly anomalous behavior, and we learned that Earth's ionosphere continues changing, and the importance of Earth's magnetic field and solar activity to that change did not get lost in the mix. But to put these in context, let's do this planet by planet. At Mercury, there isn't much to say yet, the last planet to take that description. But with Bepi Colombo ready to follow up Messenger's magnetic data, we will get a good before and after look at Mercury soon. Venus has seen tremendous increases in its fastest winds, not to mention its rotation speed has been questioned after variation observed. In this line, by the way, its newly discovered ionospheric signals are not bolded because we can't be 100% certain it's a new thing. In truth, I think the older surveys and instruments should have seen it, but they didn't, and they currently claim those instruments were not able to. Wind speed, rotation glitches, electromagnetic aspects of the planet, all pliable with a magnetic change. At Earth, of course, we have the direct evidence that the field is changing, weakening with the magnetic poles shifting. We have seen record hail and lightning, the polar summer mesospheric echo anomalies, and now the F2 critical frequency, following up the detection of an F4 layer for the first time a few years ago, and the overall climate changes as well. Mars had a warming episode that made Earth's look tame the last half-century. Its seismic anomalies are still unexplained by the scientists, and now we see its atmosphere changing in the clouds. This was a candidate planetary change when it happened 2 years ago, and its recurrence now, both in early appearance and at the altitude at higher heights than should be seen, can be looked at as a signature of the sort of atmospheric and magnetic shifts happening on the other planets. Clouds, climate, and seismicity. Are you starting to see the importance of covering the electromagnetic aspects to those things, including earthquakes on Earth? At Jupiter, the cloud and storm anomalies are one thing, but when its radio output changed, we knew the only thing that made those radio waves were electrons trapped in its magnetic field, indicating a change in that field, and we are seeing it at the moons of Jupiter as well. Its entire magnetic system is changing. Saturn's 30-year superstorm arrived a decade early. Uranus had a record storm, aurora, and the first ever auroral X-rays discovered in 2017. Neptune has had its record storms, and last year those record storms began to reverse their patterns. Pluto's atmospheric collapse in 2019 caps off literally every possible geological, geophysical, atmospheric, and electrical change that you might see with the changing magnetic field of a planet, actually being seen right now spread across the solar system. It is worth noting that this is not the effect of Plutonian winter, which should have began back in 1989. This was in fact a one-year collapse, as the 2018 readings showed the atmosphere as being fine. Of course, the scary one is the sun. For the micronova to occur, its magnetic field changes must begin to actually affect the chemistry of the corona, the sun's atmosphere, and we have seen both the first detection and the confirmation just this year. Eyes up. And so let's move on to what causes the disaster. Down the left side are the possible causes we've heard recently, and across the top we have the evidence to be explained. And you will notice that some of the pieces of evidence are actually potential causes as well, volcanoes and impactors to be precise. Where things get tough for the impactors only hypothesis is the isotopes, which require a recent nearby nova. The magnetic excursion aspect of the cycle, can't do that with an impactor, and the cycle itself. Now, in theory, we could cyclically pass by a great comet, but we are so close to the end of this cycle, and with so many planets in the sun and Earth changing already, I think we would have seen that by now. That's 3 strikes for the impactor-only hypothesis, but something purely geophysical also leaves us without the impactors, so that's a no on all of those, including volcanic and magnetic excursion only as being the triggers. And so if we're looking outside the Earth to explain the disaster, and we're saying no to impactors only, but we also need those impactors, we come to our solar micronova concept, triggered by the galactic electric current sheet, and then Dr. Paul Laviolette's superwave theory, which he said in our interview with him in 2019 would indeed be triggering the sun as well. So why do I side with the solar micronova triggered by the galactic electric current sheet over La Violette's galactic superwave? First, the superwave is light, like a galactic nova from the central core, and we never see it coming. At the speed of light, it overtakes the system all at once, and if it comes at the speed of light, we don't get to see the other stars going off like we have in order at the sun, or the changes unfolding at the other planets or the Earth over these years to decades. It would just come and boom. That's obviously not the case. It has been unfolding. And we'd also be able to see the evidence of this wave at the 90 and 270 galactic longitudes, or anywhere within our system for that matter. We don't. And what we do see when we look at the galaxy is the magnetic, light polarization, and gamma ray evidence of the galactic electric current sheet pretty much every time they look. Now lastly on this front, the frozen mammoths present a terrible realization that something extraworldly inflicts this planet. Buttercups and other plants, unspoiled in their mouths and their stomachs, where there is too much muck and mud in the mammoth findings to say they were fully inundated with icy water. And the math says even then, their interior temperature and chemical digestion would continue for over an hour. The solar micronova is the greatest candidate. Finally, more than anything else, these last three images are pause and screenshot worthy. Some are from our book, and the essential thing to remember is that we have these events every 6,000 years, matching a solar superflare cycle only discovered last year. Its harmonic, the 12,000-year cycle, is up now with the Younger Dryas and Gothenburg magnetic excursion being about 12,000 years ago, and every sign on Earth and the nearby planets and sun and nearby stars that it's happening again. Would you like to know more? Click the links below the video, or check out the videos on our channel homepage or our website. I'll see you in the morning for the daily update. Be safe, everyone.